Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to talk about some very important and interesting changes that were all not mentioned in the latest patch notes. All of these changes have significant impact on how the game plays, and they all have to do with weapons' damage ranges and damage drop-off, even as far as weapons' actual damage numbers. And all of these changes secretly came within the latest Battlefield patch 4.1. Over the course of today, I spent some time testing and comparing weapons' damage ranges and damage at that range to data collected on Simthic.com, which is a very reliable weapon stat website for Battlefield games and even Call of Duty now. And the reason why I'm using Simthic is Simthic has not updated their weapon stats from the previous patch. So I can directly compare the current patch's damage to what they had in their database for the previous patch. And what I'm finding is literally every single weapon in the entire game has different damage ranges, damage drop-offs, even damage amounts for specific weapons. And I have not tested all weapons, but I've tested enough weapons to safely assume that this is a blanket change. So before we get into the testing, reminder to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I post on YouTube regularly, and I also have a very active Discord that you can join. Link is in the description. I also stream every single day at twitch.tv/enders. Drop it a follow. I'm sure I'll be streaming, maybe even when you're watching this video. So let's start off with a weapon that pretty much everyone in the game uses, the M5A3. And I'm going to be using my weapon setup that I use for this for the testing purposes, just to keep things consistent. And as you can see here, I use standard issue extended, the BCG light grip, and shortened barrel. Now keep in mind, this is still from the patch that was before 4.1, before all these changes went ahead. So we're looking at old data just so we can compare to the new data. So as you can see on the graph labeled damage over distance, the M5A3 used to do 22 damage out to 19 meters with standard issue extended. Past 19 meters, it would drop to 18 damage out to 49, and past 49 meters, it would drop to 15 damage for the remainder of the distance. Now let's jump in on the current patch into the test range and test just how much damage the M5 does using the exact same setup. Alright, so we're in the test range that I use to test a lot of things since this update, and if you want to use this yourself to test some things, the code is in the upper right hand corner, AANJ7Z. So, assuming nothing has changed, past 20 meters, this gun should do 18 damage. And up to 19 meters, this gun should do 22 damage. So, as you can see here, this guy is 19 meters away from me. And look in the bottom left corner, over my map, you will see the damage amount. So, 22. So now I'm going to walk past 19 meters. Now, assuming nothing has changed, this should not do 22 damage. But, obviously, it does 22 damage because DICE has secretly changed damage drop-off. This is just consistent with literally every single weapon in the entire game that I've tested, the K30, the AK-24, even the Government 4570. It's my conspiracy theory that the Government 4570 isn't bugged in one-shotting people. That's actually an intended change that they meant to do. So let's just test that again. This gun should not be doing 22 damage past 19 meters. That guy is 19 meters from me. Get him in the chest, 22 health. Walk back. Let's go all the way back to 29 meters. 22. Let's go to 35. 18. So, see that? It finally dropped off to 18. It should have dropped off to 18 at 20 meters. But as you can see, I shot him in the arm there. As you can see, at 20 meters, still doing 22. So this is just a little example of how the M5 is definitely different. Let's move over to the AK now. The AK is a little more interesting because they actually increase the damage for the AK. So we have our good friend Mr. AK here, and according to Simthic, the pre-patch data, the AK should do no more than 26 damage up to 9 meters. So we'll go to about 9 meters here and shoot this guy. And as you can see, it does 28 damage. So they have actually increased the AK's maximum damage within 9 meters by 2, and they've extended its other damage ranges a ton. Like, you can see it does, 22 health all the way out to, I think, 75 meters or something crazy. Let me test that. I might be wrong. Go out to, let's see what 69 meters does. 22 health. Let's walk all the way back to 74 meters. 22 health. Walk to 76. 18 health. So obviously this is way different than it used to be. The AK actually had way more severe damage drop off, as does every single other weapon in the entire game. Pre 4.1, DICE has changed. They've essentially rebalanced the entire game secretly under everyone's noses. They didn't tell anyone about this. You can go scour that latest patch notes. You will not see anything that mentions anything to do with extending all weapons damage ranges. You can scour that whole patch notes. So it's just weird to me that they would push these changes like this that affect the game balance so much without saying anything about it. Like, these are not insignificant changes. The AK literally does more damage within 9 meters. They extended its, you know, damage range and every single other weapon's damage range just across the board. So it's very confusing to me why they would make such blanket changes and not feel it's important to mention it to the player base. So I just wanted to bring this to your guys' attention. And actually, we'll test one more weapon just for consistency's sake, but we'll go a little more consistent this time. First, we're going to look at the K30's pre-patch damage numbers and then post-patch damage numbers. Alright, so we're on Synthic again. As you can see, I use the K30 with the standard issue drum magazine, laser, and tactical compensator. The K30 is supposed to be doing 22 damage out to 9 meters, and it drops off to 18 damage out to about 19 meters, and then it keeps dropping off until it eventually reaches a minimum damage of 12 at 75 meters. Let's go in game and see if this holds true. My guess is it probably won't. Alright, so we're in game. We're going to see what's up with the K30. As you can see, I'm using the exact same attachments that I'm using on Synthic in order to gain the data from the graphs, so everything is consistent. So what are we at? 9 meters, I should be doing 22 damage. Okay, so I'm doing 22 damage. Past 9 meters, I should not be doing 22 damage. Let's see. Let's go to 11 meters. I'm still doing 22 damage. Let's find the maximum distance for the 22 damage range. What am I at? Let's go to 19 meters. I'm still doing 22 damage. Let's see 21. And finally, it drops off at, I think, probably 20 meters. Let's see. So if I hit 20 meters, let's see. It'll probably do 18. Nope. Okay, so 20. Yeah, so they have literally doubled the K30's maximum damage range for 22 damage. Which is... I mean, this was not mentioned in the patch notes. You can go scour that patch. These are all secret changes, and I'd be willing to bet that if I kept testing, I'd find damage range changes and maybe even maximum damage changes like I showed you on the AK across every single weapon in the entire game. And I'm just here to say that this is not fucking okay to hide changes like this, DICE. You need to stop doing this shit because this is ridiculous. Like, you've literally doubled the maximum damage range in the K30. That is a major change to the weapon balance. We want to know about it. It should be in the patch notes. You don't have to do this shady garbage you're doing. It would be a much more interesting patch if you actually mentioned these major weapon balance changes in the patch notes. Like, you need to stop doing that. But I just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention. If you felt like you were maybe dying a little faster than before from farther away, it's because you were. It's because you actually were. Chances are you are dying to a weapon that they increased the maximum damage range of. So, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and if you want to test weapons for yourself, feel free to post your findings in the comment section below. I'm very interested to know. I will see you guys in the next one.